We started recording already. Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for joining. Today's section is going to be on the concept. I mean, we have a team. We have our expert here that's going to talk about the finance and operations, supply chain management, and then today is going to be one of the first series of the sections we're going to have for this. This is going to be like a 4 days sections. And then I'm sure that all of these will be recorded and it's going to be available. So before we start, my name is Ahmed Abdulaziz. I'm an MVP BizApps, and then I'm one of the leads in the user group, the 65 user group Nigeria, and then I'm happy to be here with you guys. And then here is we have a team. Is one of our leaders in the group as well. And so I understand everyone has been waiting for this section for long. And so this section is going to be one of the first series in the first quarters of the series that I usually have every year. And so for this quarter, we're going to have first quarter, we're going to have this finance and operation and finance and operations sections. And this is going to run for 4 days and 1 hour section as well. I know this section is 1 hour, but because we don't want to keep people to the too busy on the one section. So I'm going to introduce a team is an expert in finance operations. I'm doing it for many years, and it's my boss. He used to be one of the expert I have known for a very longer period of time now. So he's going to introduce himself by himself and for us as well. So Etim, I don't want to take much of the time. So can you kick off from here? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. It's a pleasure to be here to talk to you guys about Dynamics 365 for finance and supply chain management. So my name is Etim Bassi. Here you have a brief profile about me. I've been a Microsoft certified trainer since 2019. Again, currently I'm a solutions architect in finance and supply chain. Okay, so like Ahmed rightly mentioned, I've been on the Dynamics 365 for finance and supply chain application for quite a while, over 10 years, hands-on in implementation and support, So I'm excited to deliver this session. So I expect that this session, which is an introductory session, or just an overview of what Dynamics 365 is, I expect to see people from the business side, new team members that wants to explore and get to know more about Dynamics 365. So in that regard, we'll just be covering the core aspects of Dynamics, the capabilities of Dynamics, and then of course the benefits, to every organization. All right, so that is me in a nutshell. And then I will just move forward to the agenda for today. All right, so here you have, we're exploring the core concept. What is the concept behind this application? What is the architecture built on? What are the capabilities of this application? And then the integration capabilities, which is one of the things that makes Dynamics stand out when you compare it to the other ERP solutions. And then probably give you 1 or 2 real life world implementation discussions or practical insights on how Dynamics is implemented, give you 1 or 2 business scenarios and then try to expound on how Dynamics helps, simplify those business processes. So in the course of this discussion, you can stop me whenever you are not clear about a particular thing or you want to ask questions. You can stop me anywhere in the course of this presentation, and then I'll be more than glad to answer your questions. All right. So the first thing here is the concept. What is the concept of Dynamics 365? So Dynamics 365, it's a modular application. So when you talk about Dynamics 365, you're talking about a whole ecosystem that includes the ERP, CRM, even the AI, which is currently in vogue now. You have mixed realities, all of these modular applications. that will help you manage end-to-end, your business operations. All right. So it's a cloud application suite that integrates, all of these things I mentioned, the ERP, which is the enterprise resource planning, and also the CRM side of things, the AI side of things, mixed realities. All of these tools, are integrated into one cohesive platform. That is what Dynamics 365 is, and you will see that in the next um, um, slide. So again, just to mention that this is, which is the cloud platform, is built on, a secure and a very scalable Microsoft Azure platform. All right. So the whole essence of Dynamics 365 is to provide businesses with this flexibility. You have these real-time insights using all of these powerful tools, and that, of course, will help drive the business growth. All right. So in Dynamics 365, whether you're working with finance, whether you're trying to optimize your supply chain, you're trying to enhance your sales, which is the CRM part, or using AI to predict, basic trends or trends in the market, Dynamics 365 has all of these solutions encapsulated that will help you do that. Okay, so again, on the next slide here, you have the screen. This is the entire ecosystem, or to a large extent, the ecosystem of Dynamics 365. All right, so you can see in the middle here, you have Dynamics 365 sitting, and then on the left-hand side, you have the CRM part, and then on the right-hand side, you have what we call the enterprise resource planning tools. So on the enterprise resource planning tools, you have the finance and operations, you have talent, and as well as the retail side of things. And of course, all of these things, all of these ones will also leverage on the Power Platform tool, which is the Power BI, Power Automate, as well as the Power App side of things, you know. So that is it. So our discussion today is basically centered on finance and operations. So we just want to discuss. So again, just to put it out there, when you hear finance and operations, Dynamics 365 finance and operation, or you hear Dynamics 365 supply chain, or you hear someone say Dynamics 365 supply finance and supply chain management. All right. F&SC, F&SCM, F&O, all of this refers to the same application, right? It's just the names have been, kind of used interjectively over the years, and then, based on the licensing structure, um, the names are also modified to suit the licensing, meaning that currently now in the market, you can, buy supply chain as an application. You can also buy finance and as an application. But when you're integrating the two of them as one whole application, then you have finance and supply chain management. So I can be using these terms interjectively. It all refers to the same thing, which is this application. So our core discussion today is on the finance and operations, or finance and supply chain management, as some will call it. All right. So just giving it a broader definition, this is Microsoft's enterprise, we call it enterprise grade ERP. All right. So in the Microsoft ERP trend or chain of applications, you also have what we call Dynamics 365 Business Central. All right, which is for small and medium scale businesses. All right. But our discussion today is on finance and operations. So, and we refer to it as an enterprise grade because it's meant for large organizations. And, these are put in comparison with other solutions like Oracle, Oracle Finances, and what's the other one? SAP. Yeah, that's a very popular one. So this application will help you manage your finance, operations, and supply chain processes on one single platform. All right. So that, in a nutshell, is what Dynamics 365 is. So looking at this entire ecosystem, you want to ask yourself, what do I use in the entire Dynamics 365 ecosystem? So your choice is dependent on what business problems you want to solve. All right. And then who and who will be using the application. So for example, you're not going to buy finance and operations tools for a customer relation management department, right? So your choice in these applications are determined by the users as well, and what businesses you want to achieve. All right. But in a nutshell, just putting it out there, Dynamics 365 has something that it's end to end for every organization. It can meet every organizational need, depending on which process you want to achieve. All right. All right. So, like I did mention, this session is for beginners, those that want to explore the solution, and those that are intermediates that want to know more about this solution. So in our next session, like Hamid rightly mentioned, we'll be looking at the application proper. So the next sessions will cover things like how to um, deploy an environment, how to, the different kinds of environments you have, even also how to start the basic setup, you know, creating a legal entity, setting up the company, and all of that. So we intend to do this step by step on a week-to-week basis. So if you're a beginner, be rest assured that you have, in the course of time, you have everything you require to um, probably an extent call yourself a consultant, so to speak, in Dynamics 365. Of course, a lot of learning will still need to be done on your part to get to that stage. But of course, we will try as much as possible to give you the basics, that will help you, kick off. All right. So I think I've been able to explain what Dynamics 365 is, and which is an ERP system. ERP system simply means it's an enterprise resource planning tool or application that is used organization wide. All right, so that is it. I think the next thing I want to touch on is so yeah, in terms of the capabilities, I think as you can rightly see here, it has capabilities for finance and then capabilities for operations and also supply chain. So if you're looking to deploy something to manage your general ledger, your accounts receivable, accounts payables, budgeting, fixed assets, your cash and bank management, you have multi-company operations, company having entities across the continent or across the country, and then you want one application that will help you manage the transactions or the processes across all of those legal entities or companies. And then, of course, it supports multi-currency, which is also very key because different countries, of course, work with different currencies. And even within the same country or region, you want to do transactions in different currencies. All right. So that, again, is one of the strong capabilities of Dynamics 365. All right. So as we go along, we'll talk more about this. So, yeah, any question? So far, so good. Are we good with this definition of what an ERP is, what Dynamics 365 is, and what the core capabilities of finance and operation is? Are we okay? Do I need to go back on that?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. So this is the architecture currently as it sits. So on your left-hand side, you see things like the dev tools, you see things like the client application, the client application, and then you see the platform, all right, and also the database as well as the identity. So what we're saying here is in Dynamics 365, you have all of your developments will be done using Visual Studio 2015, all right. So that is bundled on deployment. So if you're doing your customizations, development of new features, you will be using Visual Studio 2015. And then on the client side, you have different interfaces you can use. Um, of course, there are mobile apps for specific processes like the warehouse management process, approvals and all of that. Dynamics 365 also have mobile apps for those specific processes. And of course, it integrates into, you can also use Office 365, which is, so as a user, you want to use your Excel to publish, update and publish transactions to Dynamics 365. Of course, there's that integration using Excel, and then the Dynamics 365 retail part, you have the retail POS solution for that, and then of course the web browser, which is the default interface for accessing Dynamics 365. All right, and again, this is the application the way it sits. You have the retail application, you have the financials, which is the finance part of it, and then you have the projects. All right. You also have the human capital management, or what we know as human resources, part of it embedded in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. You also have the production model embedded there as an application, which you can leverage on. And then you have the supply chain processes, warehousing, of course, you can capture your timesheets. And then expense management and budgets, of course, these are different things you can leverage on in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Yeah, so on the platform part of things, we see that you can deploy this on the cloud, and then you can also run it on premise. All right. And when you deploy it on the cloud, of course, you require an Azure SQL Server as the database. All right. But if it's on premise, you will be running with your local database SQL Server 2016 as the default. So for identity, we are saying that all of the users are, set up and managed using Azure Active Directory. All right, so the users must be existing users in Azure Active Directory. Of course, Dynamics 365 uses a single sign-on service, which means that once the user is already set up on Azure, you can also use the same credentials to access Dynamics 365. All right, but of course, on the on-premise, you have your local Active Directory, which is set up in the organization to manage users. All right, so this in a nutshell is the entire architecture, and you can see that for you to completely deploy Dynamics, it will leverage on some of the other architectures you already have. All right, your database, your Active Directories, and the rest of them. All right, so we talk about the core capabilities. So as I was trying to point out earlier, Dynamics 365 is one of the best in the market today. I'm not selling the product. I've used it over the years. And of course, from my experience in SAP, I can tell that Dynamics 365, is one of the best in the market currently. And the capabilities are almost limitless for everyone. But of course, I'll try as much as possible to point out the core capabilities that I've seen, things like unified global financials. So here we are talking about managing multiple legal entities. So in some implementations I have seen implementations where you have 30 companies set up in one um, application or in one deployment. All right. So you have different companies set up with different processes, all in one Dynamics application. So it manages that. It has the capability to manage those multiple legal entities, currencies, and different languages, all running within that specific or single platform. Of course, if you work with intercompany transactions, you understand that, it's a kind of it has a kind of unique setup and management. So Dynamics 365 also will go a step further to automate those intercompany transactions. For example, you have company A, all right, supplying items to company B, and then in return, they want the company B to supply them or to buy items from company A. So that's relationship between company A and company B. You can automate that transaction using Dynamics 365. All right. So that's one of the strong capabilities it has. And then another one I want to talk about is the AI-powered automation. So now everybody's talking about AI, and we all know that Microsoft has its own, which is the Copilot. All right. As you go along, you will see that Microsoft is trying as much as possible to automate most of the processes, even within Dynamics 365. So AI is playing a very good part in some of the basic accounting processes in Dynamics 365. That capability is really, really enhanced now. So as you go along, we'll talk about the accounts payable automations, account receivable automations, and all of that. Of course, after posting your transactions, you can get your real-time cash flow, and of course, your forecast can be drawn from Dynamics 365. This application have these intelligent tools, to help you project cash flow and then, predict customer payments, behaviors, all of this helping you to improve your margins, you know. So that capability is there. And then, of course, regulatory compliance is one key thing that, Dynamics 365 stands out. Regulatory compliance, Dynamics 365 stands out. I think is one of the top solutions in this regard. Now everybody's talking about automated invoicing or e-invoicing, like we say. So in Europe, this is expected to be made, is made mandatory this 2026. I know it's been in use over the years, but in 2026, most of the countries in Europe are making it mandatory that invoices are sent electronically. Even in Nigeria, we can see that the tax authorities are trying to implement same thing, ensuring electronic transmission of invoices. So that way, everything is transparent. So what electronic transmission of invoices or e-invoicing simply means that if a vendor supplies an item to a company, right, the tax authorities do not wait for the company to declare um, their payments or their sales at the end of the month. They don't wait for the company to declare the sales. So once you sell to a company, automatically your invoices are sent in a specified format to your tax authorities. So all of these enhancements, Dynamics 365, I think, is one of the best in terms of electronic invoicing, ensuring that it meets compliance across more than 40 countries. It has those built-in capabilities to regularly update your tax engines. And again, localizations. There are some countries that have specific features, right, the way they want to run. I know in Nigeria we don't have that, but in Europe, again, in the US, there are specific localizations that apply in those countries. So um, localizations like how invoices are processed, what and what are needs to be captured on those invoices, and all of that. Dynamics 365 has been built to ensure that all of those compliance or localization features for those specific countries are captured. All right, so it has that built-in capability to help regulate compliance. All right. Again, another important thing we want to do, we've talked about most times in Dynamics, is the intelligent demand planning and forecasting, right? So as a company, you do not want to just buy inventory and just store your inventory ending whenever you want to use it. You want your system to intelligently tell you what will be required and then also give you a forecast of what is needed in 3 months, in 2 weeks, and all of that. So Dynamics 365 will leverage machine learning, all right, and of course the IoT to analyze your historical data, to analyze your sales, your purchases, and then predict for you, right, based on the sales orders you have. It predicts the demand of what will be required, either as raw materials or as finished goods to be invoiced, all right. So that way it helps you reduce keeping too much stock, and also, of course, helps you manage stock out. So you don't need to run out of stock. It will tell you at every point in time what your stock level is, and then you can make plans accordingly. All right. Yeah. So another thing I want to talk about is the logistics and transportation. So it has this very strong um, fisted capability to optimize your freight route planning, carrier management, and even your integrated tools to enhance on-time delivery. So what we're talking about is, as a manufacturing organization, for example, you want to you're managing your production as well as transportation of those goods to your um, customers wherever they are in the country. All right. So Dynamics will help you optimize that freight process. All right. Plans your routes correctly, and then also manage the carriers itself. So the truck is not doing too well. You can tell the truck is um, performing excellently. You can tell in terms of distance it has covered, all the orders that has been delivered by that and all that. So it helps you do all of that um, logistic processes. So the next thing is asset management. Asset management. So this I'm just giving you some key capabilities. There could be more. There are more, of course, but I'm just giving you the key points. You know that Dynamics. You can also use Dynamics to maximize your equipment uptime. All right. So you can use it to predict maintenance schedules. Thereby you can also it helps you reduce downtime from those machines. So what I'm saying is you have a particular machine that you're using in production or in the course of doing your business. All right. Using this IoT data from Dynamics, it will help you predict, when the machine is due for maintenance or when the machine is due for maintenance. So that way you can also reduce downtime, right? So you don't just want to be using a machine and then it breaks down. So with Dynamics 365 data coming from, these machines that have been set up, it will help you predict when that machine is due for maintenance and then how many uptime that machine has done and all that. And then you can plan accordingly, you know. Yeah, so as you saw in the diagram previously, Dynamics 365 have the capability to support production processes. So these production processes could be discrete process, it could be lean manufacturing, all right, and even the hybrid one, it could help you manage all of those processes. So when we get into um, the production process, I'll explain to you what is discrete manufacturing, what is lean manufacturing, and what is process manufacturing. All of that you will get in that session. But Dynamics 365 have these capabilities to manage each of those different manufacturing processes. And again, the very good one that I find or that is always a selling point is the tightly fisted integration to the Microsoft ecosystem. All right. So everybody uses Microsoft tools, everybody all across the globe, be it an individual, be it an organization. All right. Everybody uses Microsoft. So you could be using Microsoft Office, Excel, Word, and all of that. So by default, um, F&SCM have that seamless integration to those things. So it has this seamless integration to Power BI, which is another Microsoft tool. Even within Microsoft Teams here, you can leverage and use Dynamics 365, all right, without or within your Teams application, all right. Manipulate the data, update the data, even within Dataverse. You can also, you can also update Dataverse within Dynamics. So that deep integration within Microsoft applications gives it that edge. So I remember those days when we were younger, we used to working with I can't remember the application. I'm not sure it's Zoho. I can't remember the application. I can't remember. Maybe Tally those days because I've used a lot of applications over the years. So maybe Tally. So you want to analyze your data. There is no direct integration with Microsoft Excel. So of course, as accountants, as individuals, we always like to use Excel to analyze our data. So you try to download that data to Excel, it doesn't work. So you have to download it and then try to do a conversion from that file format to Excel. Of course, with Dynamics 365, it's seamless. All right, the add-in is already there. Just click on Excel and all of the data is updated. And then you can work within Excel and then publish that data back to Dynamics. So that's that particular um, feature gives it a very good advantage when you're pitching it to any customer compared to the other tools, Yeah, another thing is that Dynamics is very scalable and it's very, very flexible. Very, very flexible. So the flexibility is what's one of the best selling points for Dynamics. Very flexible and very scalable. Scalable is that you can even start with 20 customers or 20 users, and then you can scale to whatever it is as your data grows. So not like those days we used to say, oh, this is the company has outgrown this application, and then we start looking for another bigger application. No, with Dynamics, it's very scalable, and then it's very flexible. You can start with a small database size, and then you can increase it over time depending on the number of applications and users you have in the application. All right. So it offers you this robust security is another thing. Security, that robust security and scalability to handle those transactions. It offers you that one. And then the last one I will want to talk about is the Microsoft Copilot and AI integration. All right. So again, um, everybody's using AI. So if you're not using AI, then you should be in the archaic age. The world has left you behind. So Microsoft is trying as much as possible to ensure that most of those processes are AI compliant. All right. So even within Dynamics, working within Dynamics, you want the system to give you just query it for whatever you want. You want it to give you maybe top 10 performing customers. You don't need to run a report. You just need to, you know, give a prompt even within the application, and then you have the information delivered to you, you know. So that strong AI capability, helps in several things in Dynamics: demand forecasting, automated procurement approvals, financial reconciliations is another great one. So I remember back in the day when we were using the older versions called Dynamics AX. So for you to be able to reconcile some transactions, maybe accounts receivable to your general ledger control accounts, you need to download two different reports, and then you start matching them or using Excel formulas to, match those transactions. Of course, with AI capabilities now enabled in Dynamics 365, all of those reconciliations are done seamlessly. You know, you no longer need to manually do things. So that's Copilot and AI capabilities, another selling point, and of course, it's still improving in that regard. So some of these are just some of the capabilities of Dynamics 365 I would like to point out. All right. So before I go to the next slide, probably I just want to take one or two questions. Any question? All right. So I did try to break down finance and supply chain, so we have an idea of what each of these applications do. So you see on the left-hand side,
I
the
think somebody
finance side
has
of
a
things. All
somebody
right,
has
please.
question.
All right, please go ahead.
Really?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, I just want to quickly ask if Dynamics 365 has capability for client and vendor management. I know Office 365 handles user accounts and all of that. I'm just looking at that from the angle of managing external users, clients, vendors, and things like that. I just want to know how all that fits into Dynamics 365.
Okay, so looking at this diagram, on the last part of it, you can see identity. Anything identity is managed from Azure. Of course, Azure Active Directory is synced to your Office 365 admin center, right? So that is where all of your clients and access is managed from. All right. So Dynamics is just talking to this application to say, hey, is this user available? If yes, grant access. What's the level of access granted? Okay, then he has license, fine. He allows you go. So everything identity, anything related to user access is managed from the Active Directory and not from Dynamics.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Any other question? Okay, so just trying to break down the difference between finance and supply chain models. On the left side, you can see the finance models, general ledger, payables, receivable, cash and bank, and all of that. All right. And then you have on the right-hand side, inventory management, warehousing. So in a nutshell, what we are saying is these are two different applications, but however, there is a two-way relationship between them. All right. There's a tight integration between the two. For example, if you want to post a vendor invoice, all right, which you will do under procurement and sourcing. If you want to post a vendor invoice, you require an account. All right. You require an account. So there's that integration between it at every point in time. However, just trying to put it out there that these are the models that are classified as finance, and these are the models that are classified as supply chain. But bear in mind that you cannot do any process independently. So, for example, if you want to set up your cost management or you want to post your sales invoices, of course, you require a ledger account and then you require a customer account, right? The customer account is kept in the accounts receivable, and the ledger account for your posting profile will be kept in your general ledger. So that integration is there, you know, ensuring that those data flows both ways, all right? So yeah, finance models basically it's just used for there's a process called record to report, sorry. So you create the records and then at the end of the day, you use it to do your day-to-day reporting and then compliance. So the finance models helps you manage that. However, on the supply chain side of things, um, this will help you manage processes like the plan, source, make, deliver. So what I'm saying is your plan um, comes from the master planning, the process of sourcing for products, and sourcing for products will be, coming from your procurement and sourcing models, and then the make and deliver will be coming from your um, production models and all of that. So bear in mind that all of this, every cost you generate on any of these models will go back into the finance model, which is your general ledger, where you have your chart of accounts, or your chart of accounts and your trial balance. So just trying to put it out there. So as you can see, it's a huge application, and then it will take us some days to cover, but we try as much as possible to ensure that we have more frequent interactions on this platform and ensure that we touch on each and every one of these, even if it's just the basics, because it could be deeper. All right. All right. So the next point I want to talk on is the integrations. So of course, when we're talking about the capabilities, we did mention some of the capabilities about Office, integration to Office and other Microsoft ecosystem. However, as you saw in our diagram, you can see the first thing we have there is to the Microsoft Cloud Stack. All right. You have Dynamics 365 F&SCM integrating to Azure, of course, for security, for hosting. All right. If you want to do a cloud hosted environment, you need Azure. Everything is hosted on Azure. All right. That's the platform. And then you have security, which is your Azure Active Directory to manage security. And then there's that integration to Microsoft 365. All right, meaning that you can work within Outlook. You get your approval notifications on Outlook. Get your approval notifications on Outlook. You can work within Teams. You can access Dynamics within Teams. You can access Dynamics from Excel, and you can also update Dynamics from Excel. And then Power Platform is another key tool. So you can have a Power App application, feeding Dynamics, picking and updating data from Dynamics, and then the Power automates for, your workflows and all of that. Of course, the Power BI is for reports, it's already embedded there by default, so you can just leverage it. So all of these are part of the integrations that are done. And of course, to your virtual agents. Then the next one will be Dataverse. I think everything is moving to Dataverse now. Everything is moving to Dataverse. Of course, integrations to Dynamics 365 suites, using dual rights. You can connect your finance and operations applications to sales, service, and marketing. All right. And then finally, AI. So these are some of the integration capabilities that Dynamics 365 has. All right. And as we go along, or depending on the need, you will see how to leverage some of these other applications to satisfy customer need. So for example, your customer might be having a sales application to manage the customer onboarding process. And then they want you to, after onboarding the customer, they want Dynamics 365 finance and supply chain to automatically pick the newly created customer from sales into F&O. All right, that integration capability is there, using dual right. So this is a very strong one. And it's one of the selling points because you don't require any customization, you don't require any ISV, you don't require any development. These things are just out of the box. You can just leverage them from F&SCM. All right. All right. So just trying to put this out there that this is one platform for your entire business. One platform for your entire business. So in the middle here, you have a unified platform for CRM and ERP. That's the entire Dynamics 365 suite, as we saw in the last scenario. Okay. So on the right-hand side, or on the blue diagram, this diagram here, you can see these are the processes that you can do on the ERP side of things. All right. You can streamline your financial transactions, your supply chain operations, commerce, which is your retail parts, your POS, and then your human resources. All of those operations you can do from the ERP side of things. And then on the CRM side of things, you can see managing sales pipelines and all of that. And all of this have a strong integration to your Microsoft 365, okay? And then you can also extend Power Platform to achieve more requirements, right? And then you're rest assured that everything here is sitting on Microsoft Azure, which is the Microsoft Cloud platform. All right. So just trying to put this again out there, or just re-emphasizing this. Yeah. So if there's any question I want to state, I will take the questions before I spend the last couple of minutes just trying to give us one real life scenario. Can I take questions?
At the moment, we don't have any question drop yet. So, yeah,
All
we
right.
don't have any
So
question yet. Yeah.
after all these things we have been saying, we just want to ask ourselves, in what scenario, or what specific business process can we leverage Dynamics 365 for, right? So in an organization, you are a Dynamics 365 F&SCM consultant, you walk into an organization, you will be given some set of requirements, all right? Or probably you're not an F&SCM consultant, you're just a consultant, or you're just a user, and then the business have specific needs. And they say, hey, we want to achieve this, we want to achieve this, all right? You're supposed to drop a requirements document, and then you gather the requirements, you're supposed to interpret those requirements, right? And then profile a solution or propose something. All right. So I just want to, I think it's a student, I just put one or more scenarios. So in this scenario, I drop, I'm saying that a sales rep wants to be able to create a quote in Dynamics 365 sales, right? The organization says to you, okay, I have a sales rep. In the field, they want to be able to create a quote from Dynamics 365, all right? And that quote that they are creating, they want the system to pick the price that they will be quoting to the customer from F&SCM, all right? They want to pick, they should also be able to see from the sales side, they should be able to see the item and the quantity, the available stock of that quantity that is in the F&SCM for that item, because of course you want to keep your stock balances in finance and operations so that you can track it properly. But somebody using the sales application wants to be able to see the item, see the price of that item, and then also what is the available quantity for that item. And then he can pick that and create a quote within sales application. All right. And then give that to the customer. And at the end of the day, when that order is created, you want that order from the sales side to flow back into finance and operations so that you can, from finance and operation, do the invoicing. All right. Of course, after your invoicing, your cash flow forecast will be updated in real time. This is one of the scenarios that, will be presented to you. And then you need to determine how to go about it. What features do you need to leverage on within Dynamics 365 for finance and operation to achieve these processes? All right. So in this case now, you see that the user is saying to you, okay, within the sales application, I want to be able to see the price of the item that is in F&O. I want to be able to see what is the available stock in F&O, and I also want to see the item from F&O. So of course, you know that your dual right will come to play. All right. And also when the invoices or when the order is created, you want the order to automatically be updated in finance and operation. All right. And then from finance and operation, you can complete the process of posting invoices. All right. So that is one of the scenarios that, Dynamics 365 will be very, very, so this scenario I just painted here, you do not need any customization. You do not need any, it's something Dynamics will do for you out of the box. All right. And then also you want to see for a finance user, they will tell you, oh, the CFO does not want to log into Dynamics. He wants to, from within Excel, which is very comfortable with, update Dynamics or access Dynamics data from Excel or either within his Teams application. Those big men, they always like to work, within these applications. So telling them to go log into Dynamics, they will tell you, no, I don't want to do that. I want to access Dynamics from Teams. So when I don't have meetings, I want to log in to see what, yes, please. Question, go ahead.
All right. Okay. I like the scenario you painted with, for example, the CFO not wanting to log into Dynamics 365 and all that. For a scenario like approvals, let's say purchase orders, issuing purchase orders, and you need approval. There are level of approval before that purchase order is issued out to a vendor, for example. Is there a way this can be achieved in Outlook as well instead of Teams?
Yes, of course. I was coming to that. So, of course, yes.
All right.
I was coming to that. So they just want to use Dynamics from all of those applications. They don't want to log into Dynamics to do all of that. So even within, for the approval scenario, of course, leveraging Microsoft Power Automate, the approval is sent to the CFO's Outlook account, and then he has a link to just click and say approve or reject, right? And then once that is clicked, of course, all of those data will, flow back to F&O. So that capability is there. All of these things are things that will be done with no customization or very minimal developments, right? Those capabilities are already embedded in Dynamics 365. So I think on the last one, I just want to share some links where you can get further materials. So of course, the first one will always be the official Microsoft Learn website. All right. The official Microsoft Learn website will always be the first scenario. And then you have other community forums for Dynamics. And of course, we also want to, introduce our own YouTube channel, which these videos and the subsequent ones will be uploaded to, So we'll share these links with you. And then as we take the next sessions, of course, we'll start referencing these links so that you begin to see where we are getting our study results from, because all of these things we are sharing, we are not creating them. They're already, as published by Microsoft. So we are just leveraging it, and then we intend to expose you to these links so that you also can, read up on your own. And then when we have the next session, other sessions, you can easily digest. So that's it for me today. I want to thank you for your time. I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity to present this. And I hope by next week, we'll have another session where we begin to go into the application proper. So there we begin to see how to deploy an environment, how to sign up either for a free trial, the different kinds of environments we have in Dynamics, and then the capabilities of each of those environments. Yes, please. Chibueze, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Good afternoon. I want
Good
to ask
afternoon.
for someone that wants to learn this in depth, to learn how to configure the system and also learn the technical bit of it. Is it what you people offer as well?
Yes, we do that. Yes, we do that. Yes, we do that.
Okay. Can we get, because I'm interested in learning this, so I want to know how the cost and also how to go about registering for it.
Okay, so this training we are offering for now are free because we just want to empower ourselves. All right, empower the younger ones among us, and then get people to know the capabilities of these solutions, and then appreciate it more. But if you want a more detailed and streamlined training, all right. So for example, you can see this model. So if you say, okay, I want to do general ledger, payable, receivable, cash management, or I want to do the finance training, full finance training, of course, you can always speak to Amit, all right, which is our host. You speak with him, and then we can structure something. But of course, even before then, you can also leverage these trainings going forward, to get some of these concepts before we go into those detailed trainings. Yeah. So Amit will leave you with his email, and then you can reach out to him. Yes, Michael.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, is that all?
The question, so what is it in hand? Shell?
Yeah, Michael was raising his hand.
Yes, hello guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sure.
All right, thank you. I don't know if you have seen my question in the chat. I was asking for what is it Visual Studio 2015 and not a recent one. This is like the same question for SQL Server. 2016. This is like 10 years back to what is happening now.
Okay, so yeah, you're right. You're right. So in deploying cloud solutions, right, you know that the environment comes bundled, right? So your database is deployed, your application, and then the development tool is deployed. So that is what is deployed with Dynamics 365 for Financial Operation by Microsoft. But of course, I think there are parts to upgrade. You know, there are parts to upgrade that, but for now, that is what is deployed. You know, so you are saying that
Okay.
you want them to deploy 2020, 2022 or 2026 for you, right?
No, it's not that I want them. This is like the way to do things, you
Yeah,
know.
you're right. You're right. I think there should be a part to upgrade. There should be a part to upgrade.
All
But
right.
that's what comes by default, yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. I'm just waiting for the next session where you will go kind of in implementation of all that.
Yes. I think we can do that next week, but I need to align with Amit to see if that's something we can do next Saturday.
Yeah,
I need to get his schedule.
that's so important. Like deployment in trial environment, like you said, this is going to be very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
All right,
That would
thank
be
you
very
so much.
interesting.
Thank you for the session of today. I do appreciate. Thank you for the
Someone is
all.
just coming in now. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. We appreciate it. Yeah. So we keep pushing. This is just an introductory session. We have not had the time to look at the environment, but by the next class, we'll begin to have a look at the environment and see what it looks like. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks, team, for your time. And can anyone hear me?
Thank you. Ahmed, we
Yes.
can't really
Yes.
hear you. It's not so clear.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Thank you so
Right?
much, everybody.
I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks everyone for your time. And then probably next section. So we're gonna go into our hands-on. Just like Etim said, so this is just like introduction section as well. So and also we're gonna forward you the recording for today for those who came late, and then or probably for those who still have a question ahead of next week section. So we can go back and always go back to the videos and watch
Yeah. Ahmed, can you please adjust your microphone? We could hardly hear you.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, how about now? Sorry. Is it okay now for you guys?
Yes, better now. Better now.
Is more better now. Okay. Yeah. I just want to thank you for everyone. So next week, we're gonna have a hands-on, and also before that, we're gonna share this recording to you, so that you can always play back, and also for those who joined very late, they can also play back as well and prepare for the next section. But feel free to drop your question on the chat, and also if you're on WhatsApp group, you can drop your question there before then if you have anything. All right. Thank you everyone. Thank you for your time. Have a good weekend.
Thank you,
Yeah,
everyone.
you said something
Yeah.
about WhatsApp
thank
group.
you.
I'm not yet in the WhatsApp group. Hello?
Okay. You're not in WhatsApp group?
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay. Yeah. Probably we're gonna share on via the email as well.
Okay.
Do you register for this section, right? You should receive
Yeah, I
your
did.
email. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
did.
So we're gonna share the details of WhatsApp there, WhatsApp group there as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Enjoy the
All
rest of
right.
your
Thank
weekend.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.